sometimes just rebooting everything helps. So,
So,
well, that's
Michael,
great. Thanks for jumping
we're
on,
going to give
Michael. How
you the
are you today?
opportunity to just tell people how they can give to the food bank.
Okay. Very good.
So, we'll have your website address here, and we'll drive them to the Facebook page. And we're just talking about what people can do to give back. So we're not doing a really like driven campaign. We're just
Sure.
sharing information today.
Okay, cool.
And
So,
Megan, I can't hear you, but I can hear Michael.
Oh gosh.
Well, you're halfway there, Chris.
Yes.
This is
Well,
like
hey,
what happened earlier.
no, Michael, thank you. It's great to speak with you, and thanks for taking the time to jump on. Thank you both for being patient with my audio obstacles. But speaking of obstacles, I guess, Michael, you guys do so much for the community. Everyone we talk to, for the most part, at some point in the conversation references you guys in the food bank, and how much you guys are involved with the community, how much you guys do, how grateful they are for you. So first and foremost, thank you for that. But if you could just kind of walk us through a general update on how everything's going for you guys.
Okay, well, thanks for having me today, Chris and Megan. It's great to be here. So yeah, interesting times at the food bank. So our March started off pretty normal for a March around here. And then, as we all know, our lives changed really quickly with the coronavirus kind of hitting, and you all had to adjust some of your plans too, and so did the food bank. So we've just had to do things a little bit differently around here, but the community has been just tremendously supportive, and the folks that we serve have been supportive and have adjusted quickly to the changes in our business model and that sort of thing. So it's just been weird times around here for all of us, but it's been so great just to see the community respond and our clients adjust and making sure that people are getting what they need.
For sure. And Michael, you just referenced it a little bit. I was going to ask you what positives you have seen come from all this. And unfortunately, times like this sometimes come up, but as you mentioned, it brings everyone together and kind of gives everyone an opportunity to show a lot of good inside and how they can give back.
For sure. So, Salina is an amazing community anyways, but this virus situation has just shown me personally and through my work just how tremendously supportive people are. One of the silver linings is that we're figuring out all kinds of different ways to serve people that we probably wouldn't have figured out if we wouldn't have been in this boat. So that's been interesting. We're using technology in ways that we never thought we'd use. We're able to serve clients without them entering the building. And I wouldn't have imagined that we'd ever be capable of doing that if the situation hadn't forced us to make those decisions. And the food bank is just so blessed with a great board of directors and great staff and tremendous support from the community. So it's all been good. And it was scary right off the bat because our numbers increased so drastically without really any time for us to prepare. And that typically happens this time of year anyways. Our inventory gets lower just because that's sort of the cycle of food raising that happens at the food bank. But it was really frightening this year because the Postal Carriers Food Drive and Project Salina both happened in May, and those were things that we were sure were going to be able to happen. So we're fortunate that our community has figured out how to make those work and to adjust, and then also just to make sure that the food bank and the other agencies that feed people have been supported and able to continue with our missions during this really weird time.
And so what I think is amazing, and you mentioned it, and we continue to hear it, is that the families that are able to be reached virtually, that maybe prior to these times we didn't fully think about. And so, you know, it's such a person to person contact and an in-person deal that now it kind of raises the eyebrows a little bit, like, you know, wow, there's actually a lot of families and opportunity out there that could use some help, and that we can reach virtually or digitally, you know, to that maybe we didn't reach before. So
Sure.
what are some of those things? You mentioned it briefly, kind of explain some of those virtual reach outs that you guys are able to do that you might be able to use moving forward too.
So one of the things that I have dreamed about at the food bank is having a mobile pantry, is having a mechanism or a method by which we can serve clients closer to where they live. We have people from the very south end of town that it's very difficult for them to get to the food bank in the times that we're doing food distribution. So I've had this idea for a couple of years that maybe we need a mobile pantry, or maybe we need a delivery service, or maybe we need a click list. And we wouldn't be nearly as far along in that process of developing those systems if we weren't forced to do it at this point. We sort of had the luxury of time before, and then when the virus hit, we didn't have that luxury anymore. So we had to figure out how we could take orders from people over the phone, how we could get food to them by building our own network of support people from them, of just being flexible and willing to address our clients' needs in different ways. And I think everybody is in that boat, whether you're a downtown merchant or the executive director of a nonprofit. We've all had to figure out how to do things differently. And it feels so good to be supported by our community while we've tried to figure these things out. One of the things that's absolutely broken my heart is that I believe very strongly that clients that are in need, people that are in need of social services, deserve to sit down face to face and talk about what their needs and preferences and abilities and all of that are. And this virus took all of that away from us. But one of the things that we figured out real quickly was that we could use a walk-up window. Drive-through restaurants are still in business. And so we figured out that we could do that we could take orders through the window, and that we could fill those clients' needs through the back door, through the garage door. And it's just been great to see how the clients have adjusted to that, and that we've been supported by the community through those processes. Because, anytime you try to do something new, there are hiccups to that, or things that don't go quite the way that you want them to the first time. So
we're learning that today as we try something new. Sometimes the speakers don't work and the microphones don't work, and I don't think Chris can hear me right now. He's just politely watching my lips move until I stop talking so he can have his turn. But you're so right, Michael. Everybody that we've talked to today so far has talked about, number one, how the community has come together to support them. And number two, what I think is the most amazing part is all of our organizations are so mission driven that they've just buckled down and done what needed to be done, did what needed to be done. I can't talk. So to get the job done. And so we just are so grateful to have all of you guys here in our community who are so committed to the causes that you support to make that happen. So.
And I think that's an interesting point, Megan, is that I have always felt like all of the social service agencies here in Salina work really well together to make sure that we're filling the needs of our community, but also that we're not duplicating services and all of that kind of stuff. And so I've always felt like we've worked really well together, but this has really taken that to a new level, because we've all reached out to one another and said, hey, what do you need during this time? We have this, and it's just sort of helped us to develop those relationships even further to the benefit of our clients and our community. And so that's been really cool to be a part of that. And while that's always happening, it just brings it closer to your heart that that you're helping others take care of people too.
It's amazing.
And Michael, you mentioned the remote service. Do you guys have a truck, a van, or what does that look like?
That's a good question. So we've done a couple of different things. So the food bank does have a couple of vehicles that we use. The first is our giant box truck, and we use that to go around and pick up donations from local grocers, basically, and they're donating about 10,000 pounds of food every week that's going to feed people. And some of that goes to the Salvation Army and to the Salina Rescue Mission and to DVAC and Ashby House and our partner agencies, Catholic Charities, just to make sure that we're getting that food to people that can help get it into the bellies of people that really need it. But we've done it's not our typical practice to do deliveries, but we've done some deliveries lately. So we've used our little truck to take food over to people's house. We had a family call that both family was quarantined by the county because of exposure to COVID-19. They were in need of food and they had no way to get it, and they had nobody else that could bring it to them because of because of their situation. And so we were happy to do that, and we put on our masks and our gloves, and we took necessary precautions, and we were able to deliver the food to their door, just like DoorDash or whoever these places are that do that, Eat Street here in Salina. So we just kind of developed a model of doing that. And while we can't do that for everybody, we figured out that there are ways that we can do that now.
That sounds pretty amazing, Michael. I guess looking forward, what challenges do you see lying ahead?
So that's a great question, Chris. So we've moved into a new stage of dealing with this. At first, it was just very reactive, and it was like, oh my gosh, what can we do today to take care of people? We've had some time now to start thinking about how this affects our business and business model moving forward. And one of the things that I've been trying to do here is to store some nuts for future months, because people that were laid off from their jobs, I mean, we've had families coming to the food bank that have never imagined that they'd be in the situation of having to use the food bank before, because they've both lost their jobs, and families like that aren't going to be just immediately back in the financial situation that they were before. So we know that those needs are going to continue through the summer, then even into the fall, that increased need of service to families. And so we've stored some nuts, and we've ordered some food from places that we don't normally order food from, and so that we have a warehouse that's going to be full and stocked for the coming months, so that with just the additional need, we'll have additional food to support people. One of the other things that happened really quickly is we all noticed when we went to the grocery store that there wasn't all of the things there that we're used to getting. And that impacted the donations to the food bank. And so we were able to be creative and take advantage of partnerships with the local grocery stores to set up donation points right at the grocery stores. And that's not really something that we've done at the food bank for a very long time. And so we've just figured out different ways to increase the donations to the food bank and to make sure that we have adequate stores of food for the future months, because this isn't something that's going to end, when we all get to go out to restaurants again and that kind of thing. There will still be additional need and additional demand for services at the food bank.
Awesome. And to kind of finish up here, what can you tell people do to get back?
Whoa.
What can we do to what? I didn't hear that.
Maybe how can people help you right now?
Oh, great.
Today.
Great question. Okay, so there are a couple things that people can do today. The two things that the food bank needs right now are food and money. And so if you're so inclined, you can go out to the grocery store and you can purchase food and you can drop that off at the food bank. We're here every day from 9 to 3, and we can accept donations from the door on the west side of our building. There's staff back there every day from 9 to 3. If you want to make a donation of food after that, you can do that by calling the food bank at 785-827-7111, and we'll arrange for a different pickup time or delivery time. If you are involved in some social club or something and want to organize your friends to donate to the food bank, that's something that you could do. The other thing is you can send checks, or you can visit us on our website and make a contribution through PayPal to support the operational needs and the future food needs of the food bank. We've had lots of people taking that option of providing funds for us to make sure that we can purchase the food that we need. And we are finally in a spot where the grocery store supply chains have righted themselves, and we're able to purchase food when we need it and to purchase food for the future. So those are just a couple of ways that people can help. Moving forward, when we get on the other side of all of this, we're going to need people's hands to help at the food bank again. That's one of the unintended consequence of this, is that we have not been able to leverage our wonderful volunteers and their contribution lately. We have very, very few volunteers that are able to come right now, and we'll be looking forward to that day when people can give their time also to the food bank.
For sure. Well, thank you, Michael. On a more personal note, I think the food bank is going to be very sad to lose you. I think our whole community agrees that you have done so much for that organization, and so we're all so happy for you to move on to a new adventure. But you have done so much for the food bank and the clients there, and so we just want to thank you personally for all of the time and energy you have put into that organization, and know that you have left it in such great shape for the next leader. So I would say moving forward, the food bank is going to need someone to fill Michael's big shoes.
Well, thank you, Megan, for saying that. I actually have small feet, so so the shoes will be just fine. No, thank you for saying that. I have loved the time that I've spent here at the food bank. This is just a tremendous organization. And as you said, because of the support from our community, it's in great shape to hand off to the next person. And I know that process is happening now, and I'm looking forward to meeting who that person is and supporting them through the transition and into the years to come. I'm excited about new opportunities for myself as well. But yeah, the food bank has a huge piece of my of my heart, and it's going to be different looking back at the food bank instead of looking ahead for the food bank. I appreciate you mentioning that, and yeah, different things for me, and still got a ways to go here. So
yeah, we're for a while, and I know from our perspective, we're excited that you'll be continuing in the nonprofit sector here in Salina. So we will not lose you as our dear friend and nonprofit champion. So
That's right. And I love the Greater Salina Community Foundation, and looking forward to working with you guys in just a different capacity. So thanks for that.
It'll be great. And yes, like you said too, we can't wait to meet the new director of the food bank, and I'm sure that they will keep things moving in a positive direction. So
absolutely.
I don't know if Chris can hear me anymore. No, Chris, no.
Can you hear us now, Chris?
Sign language.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, thanks.
Yes.
Thanks for having me this morning.
Michael, it's been
you guys take care.
We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for your patience through our technology little glitches. Chris, if you didn't know, Chris couldn't hear me during that interview. So Michael was the only one that could hear both of us, and vice versa. So that was kind of interesting, but I think we handled it okay. So join us back here in just about 10 minutes. We will be on with the American Red Cross to hear about how things are going for them, not only here in Salina, but as a global organization, from the health perspective, and some things that they're dealing with and ways that they can people can give back to the Red Cross. So don't forget that today is Giving Tuesday now. We're celebrating all day long in our Give Salina Facebook group, and you can join anytime. You may also follow along with our adventures today on the Greater Salina Community Foundation Facebook page. If you'd like to learn more about the Community Foundation and the work that we do, visit us at gscf.org. We have a great staff of 12 people who are currently working remotely to continue to serve all of our local nonprofits and donors and the people that keep this community going every day. So today we're just celebrating that great work and generosity, and we thank you for joining us. So we'll see you in 10 minutes as we hop on with the American Red Cross. We'll talk to you soon, everybody.